Portnoy, he owns Barstool Sports. He was outraged after a group of young patrons displayed the anti-Semitic sign at his Philly bar, initially vowing severe retribution against those involved. He described the incident as part of a rising wave of anti-Semitism and explained that his first impulse was to ruin the lives of the offenders. I think we have a video of him when it first happened. Mind you, for you guys that don't know, he owns this bar in Philly. When it's your birthday, they give you these freaking... By the way, I hate this. I absolutely... The fact that people do it, I hate it. So the fact that this happened, it doesn't even freaking surprise me. So they give you a saying like, happy birthday, Rob. Loved you and whatever. They put F the Jews on this birthday thing, bottle service. So the people obviously spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. The bar's owned by a Jewish guy, and that they all let them do this. And this is his response. Initially, he said he was about to have a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. All right, emergency press conference time. So I'm getting ready to go to the Met Gala. And all of a sudden, my phone, the last hour or two, my phone's fucking blowing up. Our bar in Philadelphia, Barstool Sampson Street, usually a great fucking bar. You know, bottle service, people buy drinks. You get a sign. There was a sign yesterday that said, "Fuck the Jews." I've been shaking. I've been so fucking mad for the last 2 hours. Like, I instantly got on. This is why the emergency press conference was late, because I was so over the top. It's like, I'm going to fucking make it my life fucking mission to ruin these people. Like, I'm coming to your throat. I'm never ending. And I just sat, and for the last 2 hours, I have been on the trail. Trust me, I've been on the trail. You think I'm going to put up with this shit at my bar? So I've been hunting down waitresses, the table who did it, and everything you can fucking name, because I want fucking consequences for fucking actions. So I'm not just sitting back like, oh, what are you gonna know? Trust me, I have been on it. I believe the two waitresses responsible for the table already fired. I talked to one of them, one of the dumbest fucking humans I've ever talked to in my life. She's at a fucking dance recital. She's like, can I call you back in 20? No fucking honey, you fucking can't. This is your one chance to talk to me. Idiot, total idiot.
All right, okay,
is he wearing the Taylor Swift shirt ironically, or
no? He just, he probably
he loves Taylor Swift. So I followed Barstool for a long time, and do you know how they shot to notoriety, how they became famous?
A few different things.
Well, the number one thing was when Dave Portnoy posted a photo of Tom Brady's, I believe, 2-year-old son naked on his website. Yep. We're talking 2006, 7, or 8.
Howitzergate.
What's that?
Howitzergate is what it was called.
It's called, what is it?
Howitzergate, because he said the kid had a howitzer.
Yeah. What does that mean?
He commented on the size of the kid's penis.
Yes.
Shut.
Yes.
I'm sorry, my eyes are twitching. Dave Portnoy did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was how Barstool, that's how I became aware of Barstool, and I followed them for a long time. He has been a Taylor Swift fan. I believe he went to like a concert 2 or 3 years ago and became a Swiftie. And he's been very vocal about his love for Taylor Swift, which I actually admire, because there are some songs of Taylor Swift's that are enjoyable.
Oh,
I won't go to a concert. I'm not going to buy a shirt. But there have been times where I've caught her singing a song. I'm like, man, I really like that song. Who is that? And somebody goes, Taylor Swift. I'm like, I don't like her, but I love that song. Yeah. So he's been a Swiftie for a long time.
And just to clarify also, I like the music, but I would never wear a Taylor Swift shirt. I did when I used to do the races in a suit, the obstacle course races. I did one to shake it off, and I would lip sync while I did it. It was
by
fun.
the way, I would wear it to make fun. Like, I like wearing shirts where people are like, oh, he's wearing a whatever shirt. But anyway, this is a tweet from him about the situation. He goes, I'm all over this. Mike Wade wasn't there. Mo Khan most certainly was. The 2 bottle service girls who did already have been fired. I talked to Wade. He was crying. I have Mo Khan's cell and talked to his buddy who did it. I gave them 1 hour to make it right, whether it be
anti-Semitism classes, so re-education.
Yeah, and if it's not
bad response as far
I'll
as
put
I'm
all
concerned,
in lights. And apparently he's telling these people, give you a trip to.
We have that video as well.
Sending them to Auschwitz is what he said verbatim.
The outrage in that video. Okay, it makes sense. He's Jewish. He's mad that people held up a sign that said something offensive against his people. Great, whatever. That's your prerogative. But for him to stand there and like, I'm gonna ruin their lives. Yeah. I'm giving them 1 hour to respond before I blow them up. I'm all over this. He tracked down phone numbers. He's calling people's friends. Like, that was. You don't think that's a little bit over the top?
Yeah, not at all. I actually think it's not enough. The kid that did this is 21 years old. He's an adult. These are kids that are able to sign a contract with the government to get a student loan that they're going to have to pay off for the next 20 to 30 years of their lives. So these kids are fully functioning adults. He's going to Temple. That's not an easy school to get into.
No.
This is not some dummy. When you put something like that up on a sign, you may have the freedom of speech to say it, but you are not absolved of the freedom of consequence. So the kid getting suspended from his school, the kid losing his internship, hell yeah. Absolutely. If I went into his bar, regardless if it said fuck the Jews or fuck the blacks or fuck the Hispanics, there's going to be consequences to that.
Yeah.
And absolutely, if that's my bar, because guess what? It's not Mo Khan that was getting tagged at first. It was Barstool Sports. Barstool Sports is anti-Semitic. Dave Portnoy, who is Jewish, apparently Grok says he is, also anti-Semitic. So when you have these people going out and saying these horrifically vicious things, yeah, be prepared that there's going to be consequences. And when the reputation of your bar and your business are on the line and it looks like you're allowing anti-Semitic, that has consequences for the establishment. So if that's my bar, hell yeah, I'm going through every avenue I can to identify those kids, embarrass the shit out of them, show the world what awful human beings these kids are, and calling out their parents. The number one conversation I had with my kid about this on Sunday when I started seeing this going was, this is why you think before you do. Because there are consequences for every action. So whether it's fuck the Jews, fuck the blacks, fuck the Hispanics, fuck the Arabs, whatever it may be, there's going to be consequences when you make a statement like that.
But and here's my question, though. So what, and I want the chat to know, I'm asking the chat, what do you guys think the punishment should be? Jail, fines, firing in one line, education, both, or neither? Free speech should be protected. And here's my thing, Rob. I agree. But is it, mind you, we don't know all the actual details of who said yes. And first and foremost, everybody at your staff, your bar, the people that you hired, are cool to the management, because this doesn't go, you don't just make a decision as a waitress. This is, from the top down, was cool with that. So they're cool with saying, fuck the Jews in a Jewish-owned bar, number one. Number two, is the punishment, yes, it was very, very stupid, but is it worth destroying a 21-year-old kid's life?
Yes, because he's not a kid. Well, I don't believe we can continue to, when we refer to these people as children, they're not children. A 21-year-old person can drive a car, can drink alcohol, can serve in the military, can sign up for student loans. So at what point do we go, well, it's an innocent kid? Look, if that was a 12-year-old that did that,
yeah, of course,
I'd have more leeway and go, all right, he's 12, he's stupid, he doesn't understand the consequences of his actions. That same logic does not apply to a 21-year-old man.
So 21, mind you, I did a lot of crazy shit when I was 21 that I would never do now as an adult, a real adult. And you're right, Rob, he just turned 21. So what I'm asking is, destroying his life, meaning he's never going to get a job again. His life is literally going to be ruined forever because his dumb ass put a sign in a bar that said, fuck the Jews, because in his mind, Israel, because this is where it goes all back to, Israel is ruining the world and ruining the country. That's what I'm asking. I'm saying, like, ruining his life forever. He's on, but they didn't kick him out. He's on his
They suspended him, but they'll probably revoke his
That's basically what I'm asking you guys is, for the rest of his life, he's destroyed because he made a stupid decision. You're 100% right, as an adult, but an immature 21-year-old adult.
Now, I happen to have, as I was driving here, listened to other appearances that he did, and his big problem now is the mistake and an apology would have been one thing. I don't think you destroy someone's life for something. Look, people think like real life is like Twitter, so you can say something edgy and say, oh, it's just a joke, bro, don't take it too seriously, and that's probably how they meant it. Whether or not destroying his life for having said F the Jews is going to teach him a lesson that what he said was wrong and that, you know, the Jews as a people are not vengeful or you don't get canceled for saying stupid things, it might teach him the wrong lesson in terms of trying to make him realize the error in his ways. The only problem is I've seen some of the interviews he's done since. He put up that apology makes things exponentially worse. He went on with Stu Peters and made things exponentially worse in terms of now saying, poor me, I went out and said, fuck the Jews, and now I'm getting in trouble, and it's the Jews' fault that I'm getting... Like, this is what happens. People say, like, oh, you go online and you say, fuck the Jews, and then you get canceled, you get your bank account shut down. It's because the Jews are in control. No, it's because you're acting like an asshole in general. And you can fill in the fuck the Jews for whomever, you'd probably have the same consequences, unless it's, you know, you say something racist and then you raise $600,000 and maybe he's empowered by that.
But that brings up an interesting point, though, because I don't know if you get the same reaction if you go, like, race by race or group by group. And I don't know the answer to this question or not, but, like, is this going to make the problem worse or less bad? Like this type of reaction is going to make more people do things like this or less people do things like this? Because it's almost like some people like just exist purely to get a reaction out of people. Some people like that, and I think like the degree to which he reacted, it's going to cause some people out there to try to provoke people like this when they see this like this powerful of a reaction. Because you got people like Nick Fuentes out there who like monetize the hatred and stuff. So I don't know.
Well, that's he'll find his niche to compensate for whatever loss he's going to experience. Some might say that Portnoy is going a little bit too hard, and methinks he does. He has to protest to show what a virtuous person he is, which might correlate to what a virtuous person he's not. I don't know. Getting fired, it's without a question. The waitresses get fired. How blasty you have to put that on that you fire them. Fire them. He's going to suffer the consequences with his school, not because of what Portnoy's doing, because he put it up on his. From what I understood, he uploaded it to his Instagram page. He made it public. So you don't need Portnoy to go full hog for this kid to suffer the consequences, which are foreseeable. His life won't be ruined, nor should it. But you will not teach him any lessons by looking to destroy him for the rest of his life.
But the other part of the problem is how Portnoy used his platform to then try to take a position like he's an authority on this. He's saying, what should their punishment be? Like, okay, I get they did it in your bar and you can fire your employees. That's your prerogative. I think that was probably the smart thing to do. The people who don't work for you, what authority does Dave Portnoy have to punish them? Now he's talking about, I'm going to send them to Auschwitz to go
You
to
might want to
take
play
a tour.
that clip so people don't think you're actually saying something bad.
Yes. Let's play this clip and then I'll finish my statement. He's not actually trying to send them to Auschwitz.
I don't know.
punish them.
It sounded like he was making a double entendre, half-funny joke that might not be funny.
Well, let's play that. And Connor, I understand what you're saying right before we play this. But what Mo Khan is saying is that Dave Portnoy said, he basically won't put his name out there and stuff like that if he goes through this and goes through all this process. But then he went ahead and blasted him out there with all these fucking people. So he's like, well, he lied to me. That's what he's saying. That's the interview that I just saw. But yeah, play this clip about
sending them to the A word.
All right, real quick update on the Fuck the Jews sign that was at my bar in Philadelphia yesterday. 2 hours ago, he literally could have cooked an egg on my head. That's how much steam and heat I had come out of my ears. And the more I thought about it, it's like these are young fucking morons who did this. They're drunk. It's like, do you really want to ruin somebody's life? And let me be honest. I don't know what's going on in the world. I do, the Middle East, obviously. But I've been doing Barstool for 20 years. I've had more hate, more anti-Semitism in the last year and a half than I've ever had doing it. And whether people, it's like Kanye, the UFC guy, it's like mainstream lunatics. And I'm not talking about politics or what's going on in the Middle East, just hating groups of people. You hate my parents, you hate my grandparents, shit like that. It's crazy. So, yeah, my initial reaction was like, I'm going to fucking burn these people to the ground, their families, everything. And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment. And like, before people just are like, fuck the Jews or any group and the hate, let's try to like turn a hideous incident into maybe a learning experience, as cliche and very unlike me. But I talked to both the culprits who I know are super involved in it, talked to the families. I'm sending these kids to Auschwitz. They've agreed to go. That's, of course, the Holocaust concentration camps. Been in touch with the Crafts, who run the anti-hate group. We're going to send these kids to Auschwitz, and they're going to do a
the way he says it,
tour
it's like
of the concentration camps in Germany, and hopefully learn something, and maybe like their lives aren't ruined, and they think twice, and more importantly, other people like see.
All right,
it's
that's
not
enough.
like words
And I
you're
want you to
throwing
go,
around.
Connor, in all honesty, if you hate Jews, okay, and you're this person, and this guy pays for you to fly to Auschwitz, is that going to change your attitude one iota? Absolutely not.
Probably not.
They're not going to change. Rob.
This is what I mean about his authority.
Mo Khan is going to be like, you know what? Yeah. It's going to make him angrier because a Jewish guy is making him go there.
This is what I mean about him taking this authority position as though he has some kind of invested power to punish these people who have nothing to do with him other than they went to his bar. It's like, well, I didn't like what you guys said, so now you're going to go on this field trip, and then you're going to write an essay about how you've reflected on what you did wrong, and then if I'm convinced that you're actually sorry, I won't ruin your life.
That's not...
If you hate Jews that much, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's acceptable at all. That's completely inappropriate behavior for people to do in public, and it's their own fault for posting it after they made this terrible decision.
In public.
I'm
joking, Connor.
Or don't post these things. This is why kids are idiots for posting this stuff. But it's like, how does it help then to have a super wealthy, super influential guy like, I'm going to mandate you go on this field trip to make you think about your behavior. You're going to go through the thing that'll make you think the things I want you to think, and then once I see you're sorry, maybe I won't ruin your life. That's not going to change anybody's mind.
You're going to get Mo Khan arguing with the people at Auschwitz, running the calculations as what you hear on the internet. Well, it's technically impossible for you to have cremated that many people over that many years. I mean, first of all, it's true also. It's not because they don't know that there was a genocide. The issue is that they take issue with the fact that the Jews have been successful, and put that in quotes, in getting recognition for their genocide, while the Armenian genocide is not even yet recognized by certain countries. While the Rwandan genocide is almost written off as like activities of an undeveloped world, where the whole thing they always say about the Holocaust is it happened in Germany, and that was the most civilized country on earth, and so that's what makes it particularly shocking, as though human nature is not human nature across the globe.
But let me ask you, be honest, Viva. When do you guys think this hardcore anti-Jewish movement started?
October 7th.
October 7th made, and the months following made people go, oh my God, Israel! It's the response of Israel to Palestine. Let's just say what it is, because nobody was walking around saying F the Jews, doing signs like anti-Semitism was nowhere near where it was. And the problem with people like this is, your ignorant ass, instead of saying F the Jews and do a blanket statement over all people, it's like Rob said, F the blacks, F the Spanish, F the Latinos. He should have said...
Well, hold on. Just before you say, like Rob said, F all of these ethnic groups. I was trying to prove
it was over coffee, too. It's like, fucking fuck all of them.
What I'm saying is, that sign, if you're going to be pointing it and go to the point, should have said, I don't like what Israel is doing in Gaza. That's what you should say.
Slightly more nuanced than you get on a bottle service sign.
He could have said, fuck Israel. That's what he could have said.
F Bibi Netanyahu. F Israel. That's what you say.
Their strategy is all wrong though. I think they're the people who are most harshly against this are the ones who are creating it, because the harder you try to suppress people from saying something, if you even broach the topic of saying oh, I don't like the way that Israel or Jewish people are doing this, it's like shut up, anti-Semite. So I think that almost is adding fuel to the fire, and since there's so much of that, that's what's caused an increase in this stuff.
Then going on that point, and then there's a bill. Right, can we go to that one, Connor?
Yeah,
guys, because this is what's freaking crazy on
next page.
Next slide.
HR 867.
Can we go to the next slide?
Which is
thank you. So on Sunday, I heard about this. Charlie Kirk and a bunch of people were posting it, and then apparently it just disappeared. They just canceled it. So this is a House bill that wanted to criminalize participation in anti-Israel boycotts. Going off to your point, it was pulled from a scheduled vote after significant backlash from conservative lawmakers and activists who argued it violates America's First Amendment right. It's called HR 867, which basically was going to make it illegal and with fines up to $1 million. Can you go to the next slide and show them this one?
And also, just to clarify something,
that's what was floating around.
To clarify something, the response to this was, well, it's only an HR resolution to amend an existing law. The law already exists, so what are you guys complaining about? For those who've been paying attention, the law exists as of 2018. It amended a 1979 law. And the law of 2018 sought to prevent individuals within the United States from actively participating in well, they want to include independent governmental organizations, but to participate in organized boycotts of countries friendly to the United States, such as Israel. So it's true, the law has existed since 2018. It was a dumb law in 2018, and the fact they want to enhance the penalties makes it even dumber and exacerbates any underlying...
Which other U.S. allies are ever being boycotted by anybody?
Well, some people might want to boycott Canada now. I mean, would that apply to anybody who wants to participate in an internationally organized boycott of Canada?
I will not buy Canadian whiskey. Well, I guess I'm going to jail for 20 years and paying $1 million fine. According to this.
Yeah, what are you going to say, Rob?
Well, because I'm reading the actual resolution, and nowhere in there does it say Israel or Jews. It does say country which is friendly to the United States and that is not itself the object of a U.S. boycott.
Yeah, because you could boycott Russia now, because that would be one that there's a sanction involved in.
When
You
they're
could
saying
boycott
friends
Russia.
of the United States, who's our
It's-
allies?
Also, the bill was introduced by Representative, or the resolution was introduced by Representative Mike Lawler, who explicitly said it was for Israel.
There's no denying
and
it.
if you look at his open secrets page, you can see how many thousands of dollars he received from AIPAC in his last
There's
campaign.
no denying it was in response to what they call the not IBS.
Irritable bowel
the
syndrome?
BDS.
Boycott, divest, sanction Israel. It was in response to that, and people should be somewhat offended that there would be a law that says that you can't boycott or participate in a boycott. I mean, I made the joke that what's next in telling you what you can't boycott is telling you what you have to buy and what countries you have to support. But the whole issue with Portnoy's over-the-top reaction, it's a sign that said, fuck the Jews. Yes, it makes your establishment look bad. You come out, you fire them, you say there have been sanctions, and you move on because it's a freaking sign that said, fuck the Jews.
Yeah.
And you were not 5-year-old children that this is going to cause us to be shaking. And I say that it doesn't even matter that I happen to be Jewish. I say that it could be anybody. Those are words. The argument that leads to real-life actions, I'm not convinced that someone saying something stupid on the internet leads to someone actively participating in that in real life, whereas they wouldn't have otherwise done it in any
Yeah,
event.
it wasn't a call to action. It didn't say kill the Jews. Mind
Well,
you.
it could have been in the imperative tense of, go out and have sex with a Jew.
No one
Well,
would
yeah,
complain
no,
about
I mean,
that.
Or listen, you know how easily that sign could have been fixed if they just put with there? Fuck with the Jews. Like, it'd have been easy.
I
But
thought it said frisk the Jews at first. Like, that's
well, listen, from the top, the bar, the management, you deal with that. I don't know. Having them go there to me isn't going to do nothing. These are in regard to the bill. These are posts from Charlie Kirk, Thomas Massey, Anna Paulina Luna, who's one of my favorites. She's so beautiful.
It's going to be on the podcast soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Guess who's going to try to be on that? And then what else do we have, Kel?
Well, they apparently pulled it. It was scheduled for a vote. I don't remember if it was Monday or yesterday, but they pulled it, and it's.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that before we move on to the Shiloh Hendricks story? Did you guys see that the guy actually put the... Can we go back to the video of Mo Khan real quick,
Yeah, my bad.
Because you should hear this guy's defense. All of a sudden, he went from, I didn't do this, to now I'm a victim because Dave Portnoy put me on blast because of what I've said, and now I've suffered all of these punishments. You should feel bad for me. Then he started a Give, Send, Go or a GoFundMe or somebody did in his name, and it's generated like $25,000 already. But here's the clip. Just listen. In my opinion, this guy's a piece of shit if he was behind the sign. But take a listen to how he is now the victim of his own actions.
Go ahead.
I was in an establishment in Philadelphia where an incident occurred, and Dave Portnoy sensationalized it to his 9.2 million followers
his act.
on Instagram and X, essentially turning it into a global news story. Although I had nothing to do with the sign coming out, nor do I know who did it, I know that the sign was provocative because it reminded people a lot of the unjust things that Israel is doing around the world, thus leading me to report on it. Dave Portnoy and his friends can choose to be triggered over the sentiments of that sign and even kick me out of the establishment forever. However, they have no right to destroy my life over free speech and ultimately something that was an edgy joke.
Stop it
Frankly,
right
they're
there.
more
Stop it
worried
right
ab-
there. So earlier he said that he had nothing to do with the sign. He didn't know who was behind it. But now he claims that it was an edgy joke. So which is it? Were you behind the sign or were you not? Because now within a minute, you're issuing
Not
a
even.
contradictory statement about your participation
He
in the sign.
uploaded it to his Instagram page. The
No, but now he swears he was only covering it as a citizen journalist. So if you look
I'm
at...
going to do that. I'm going to go to a strip club and I'm going to film and then I'm going to tell my wife I'm there as a citizen journalist.
Yeah, if you
and
look at that
cannot
guy-
impede on me.
Like, you can tell where that guy's from. Mo Khan. Sounds like the name of a deep south white supremacist if I've ever heard one, right? No, this is definitely someone who has a reason to dislike Israel and Jewish people that has nothing to do with him being some sort of white supremacist right-winger.
No, but he says, like, what's offensive about it is that it reminds the world of the unjust things that Israel, unjust is what he meant, of what Israel's doing. It's like, all right, does he have a sign that says, fuck the Chinese, like, or fuck CCP? No, because when you direct your ideological prejudice against the only one country where you decide to object, even if you assume that what they're doing is morally objectionable, and I think some can agree that there's some element of it that is morally objectionable, but war is hell. You don't pick on China. You don't pick on Libya. You don't pick on any other country. You go to Israel and you by the way, you do it not in the wake of Israel's response to October 7th. They were saying, F the Jews, and they were protesting Israel before it even retaliated for the October 7 terrorist attacks, which goes to show you that it wasn't predicated on Israel's response. It was an underlying sentiment that's always there. It resurfaces every 10 to 20 years, and we are now going through Intifada 3, which I lived through the first two in 2001 and the mid-90s. But no, it's ideologically driven objection. He doesn't care about any other injustice in the world. This is the one now he wants to make an edgy joke about.
All right, well, great story, guys. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.